Since the creation of the universe, there's been one question that not one single person has been able to answer fully. Who's the best live-action Spider-Man? Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. Who's the best? Because that's so important. Every one of these guys has their supporters and their haters. Except for Tobey Maguire, everyone pretty much loves him. So which of the three is the best? Who encapsulated the character the most? And most importantly, which one is the hottest? And it's Andrew Garfield.
Also join my Discord, links in the description.
Let's get the most obvious comparisons out of the way, their strength. This doesn't matter at all to me personally, but I mean, this is the first thing anyone talks about when comparing these guys. Which one is the strongest? It's Tom Holland, and I'm tired of people pretending it isn't. Look, I know Tobey Maguire is the obvious choice, but if you look at the feats, I don't really think Tobey gets this point. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and do a bunch of math equations as to who's the strongest by calculating their feats. Not because I'm not smart enough or anything. People have already done this with Tobey's train feat, Tom's boat feat, and Andrew's car feat. Yeah, there's a reason Andrew hasn't been mentioned in this category so far. He just doesn't do much. As for Tom and Tobey's previously mentioned feats, I have to give it to Tom. Not because his boat feat is honestly that crazy. I think people give him too much credit for it. He didn't even pull it together. Iron Man did. But the reason I have to give it to Tom is because he got hit by a bullet train and pulled himself up. Tobey had to be saved by the people in the train. Not that he would have died, but Tom definitely did a little better. And also, it's a bullet train versus like a 2004 regular New York metro train. One of them is remarkably more powerful. Not to mention Tom gave Thanos a few punches that did a bit of damage, which is impressive considering Thanos was previously able to beat the Hulk. Also, I just need to rant about this. At the end of No Way Home, Tom Holland tries to kill Green Goblin and Tobey Maguire stops him. And many people attribute this to the fact that Tobey Maguire is just that much stronger than Tom. Have you ever pushed anything in your life or interacted with the world? Pushing something down in this position is much harder than holding your ground here. You do understand that, right? And people saying he does it effortlessly, you can see him straining himself to do it. Yeah, anyway, point one goes to Tom. Now, if you don't know what this category means, honestly, neither do I. Responsibility is a hard thing to measure in media, but I think we can look at the consequences that these people face and how they learn from them. This is something that I think they all actually do pretty well. In Spider-Man 1, Tobey learns at the end of the movie that he can't be with MJ because he puts her in danger. This would be a big positive for Tobey if he didn't go back on that in the second and third movies. Again, in Spider-Man 1, he learns that he needs to help whenever he can, no matter how little it really means to him when he lets that Robo go and kills Uncle Ben. But again, the third movie goes back on this when Sandman kills Uncle Ben. So there is literally nothing Peter could have done to stop it. I don't think this makes Spider-Man 1 a worse movie, but it does make Tobey Maguire's character just a little bit weaker. Andrew Garfield has a similar problem because even though he could have stopped the mugger, he was already a significant distance away from him. And I mean, what is he supposed to do? Run him down? He hasn't even practiced his powers yet. Then that guy just shoots Ben. At least in Tobey's case, he was shot because he was supposed to pick him up. But Andrew was just a matter of circumstance. That's a kind of theme with Andrew's movies. Captain Stacy dies because he's a cop on duty and there's a giant fucking lizard. Gwen dies because she just shows up and Andrew is literally trying to get her to leave. Nothing happens to Andrew because he messes up. He really doesn't do anything that selfish. What, he shows off a little bit in basketball? Yeah, that's stupid, but he's standing up to a bully. He taunts a criminal? That's because he's fucking Spider-Man. You could say that because he's morally correct, that makes him the most responsible, but fuck that, that's boring. Make him learn to be better because he sucks.
And I know I'm not your father.
Then stop pretending to be.
As for Tom, there's not a lot to mention. Because of the previous Spider-Man movies, everyone is in the know, so they focus more on Tom being able to fit into the Spider-Man mantle. Uncle Ben is already dead and he's on the right track morally, but he's very inexperienced, agreeing to fight with Tony when, if you think about it, Spider-Man should probably be on Cap's side. Homecoming is about learning to rely on himself. Far From Home is about learning to trust his instincts, and No Way Home is about taking responsibility for his actions. While I do have my problems with No Way Home, it does do a pretty good job with Peter himself. Peter starts off trying to cheat his way out of all of his problems. This backfires in his face when other villains start showing up, which leads directly into his aunt being murdered. And even after all that, he still doesn't give in to the urge to kill Goblin and instead cures him, and accepts that no one will remember Peter at all so he can save the world. All that being said, the Spider-Man that gets this point, it's Tobey Maguire. Tobey's Spider-Man really does set the stage for how to structure a superhero movie. Even after Spider-Man 3's retcon, it still manages to get the message across beautifully. While Tom's does get the same message across in a way that feels fresh, Tobey still comes out on top in my opinion. Point two goes to Tobey. This is a pretty controversial topic when it comes to discussing which Spider-Man is the best, and yet again, I think all three do a great job. Tobey's swinging feels angelic, almost godlike. He swings through the city like a figure for the people. No, this is not a Jesus comparison. Andrew swings with real weight and ferocity, not wasting much time stunting while still looking very cool. Tom's swinging is not very prominent. I do like Homecoming's lack of swinging because it creates for a new feeling experience, but what am I supposed to do? Give him a point for it? His swinging in Far From Home is great, but his swinging in No Way Home is straight up awful. There are a few ways we could determine who's the best, such as realism, style, and how good the CGI is. I can't track this on anymore. Andrew wins in almost every way possible. The start of Amazing Spider-Man 2 is so good, man. Point goes to Andrew. One of the beauties of watching a superhero movie is getting to see a lot of really cool fights. Spider-Man's unique way of fighting makes any fight he's in so much more fun to watch. These movies have some of the best fight scenes in any movie I've ever seen, so whose are the best really? Tobey's are very consistently good. His Green Goblin fight, his fight with Doc Ock, his fight with Little Goblin Jr., even if the green screen was terrible. The first Sandman fight is really good, and the Sandman and Venom fight is passable. It mostly just went on too long, but it was still pretty good. I'd say the best fight out of all of these is his first fight with Doc Ock, so we'll mostly be judging that. Andrew also has some fantastic fights, but considerably less of them. The only memorable fight from Amazing Spider-Man was his fight in the high school. I love the way he actually moves like a spider. Fight with Electro in his second movie is also great and really fun to watch. That being said, do you really remember anything from a fight other than that one shot? Tom's fights are also not as common. Homecoming is just him getting his ass kicked, bank destroyed, getting his ass kicked, falling from the sky, getting his ass kicked, and finally fending for himself. I'm not saying there's no good action in the movie, just not as much fighting. The little actual fighting in the movie is good, but again, what am I supposed to do? Give him the point for it? Well, maybe, because Far From Home and No Way Home have some incredible fights in them. Spider-Man versus Hydro Man, awesome. Spider-Man versus Mysterio, awesome. Spider-Man versus Mysterio again, awesome. And No Way Home was just banger after banger. The bridge fight, the Doctor Strange fight, the apartment fight. Oh my god, the apartment fight. The final act is also so good, and we finally get to see this version of Spider-Man really kick some ass. I do have to give the other two Spider-Man some credit, you know, they were in it, but oh my god, Tom gets the point on this one, and honestly, it's not even close. Quips are essential to the Spider-Man character, so much so that Spider-Man PS4 has an entire suit power dedicated to them. So which of these Spider-Man has the best quips? It's Tom, by a wide margin. This is something I realized somewhat recently as the reason why I don't really like Tobey's movies as much as everyone else. Tobey doesn't really quip at all. I'm sure if you go through the movies, you'll find some, but for the most part, he doesn't really taunt his enemies much. And when he does, it's some of the most basic quips I've heard out of Spider-Man.
Or are you out? It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
I don't know, I think I've just kind of been spoiled from Spectacular Spider-Man, which has like the best quips out of any Spider-Man ever.
Four-limbed excuse for a spider.
Oh, you sweet talker, you.
Andrew does quip, but not very well. I only remember when he says his one weakness is small knives, and that was funny. But the only other time I remember when he quipped, he could be saving lives. Like, people are actually dying because he's being a dumbass. Now, Tom quips often and well, although he does kind of peak in Civil War.
Hey, buddy, I think you lost this.
Only really Homecoming compares to the quips in that movie. But that being said, Tom's quips make him feel so much more of a character and is the main reason he's my favorite Spider-Man. Point Tom. People forget how smart Spider-Man is. He's one of the smartest people in the Marvel comics. So which of the three is the smartest one? Well, it's not Tobey. The only bit of intelligence we see from him is in No Way Home when he creates the Goblin Serum. But come on, that's not even his movie. Andrew created his web shooters, cured Lizard, and made his suit resilient to Electro. Tom has done smart things, but basically everything I can say about Tom I can give to Andrew instead. Tom is very clearly smart, but it doesn't help him all too often when it comes to his fights, other than No Way Home when he cures Doc Ock and maybe would have cured Electro, but who's to say? Point goes to Andrew. Now, acting is a very big aspect of how a movie feels. So which of these people has the best acting? Well, it's not Tobey. And yes, that does mean he comes in last place by technicality. Just please remember this isn't about the quality of the movies. That being said, is Andrew or Tom a better actor? Well, it's a pretty tough matchup. Both are very charismatic, both can reach some crazy emotional lows, and both work very well with the people around them. Which is funny because they've all dated their co-stars and somehow Tobey still has no chemistry with Kirsten in his movies. So which of the two is a better actor forever and always because my word is bond? Honestly, I think Andrew gets this one because we have a direct comparison with No Way Home and he stands out pretty well even when paired with two other Spider-Men. Yeah, point goes to Andrew. Now, this is not me saying Tobey is the worst Spider-Man. Andrew clearly had the worst movies. Let's not pretend that his movies were good all of a sudden. And I'm sure you could also think of a bunch of other categories of this is the core aspect of how Spider-Man, if Spider-Man doesn't get this right, is he really Spider-Man? And you could add a bunch of different categories saying, oh, Tobey does this better, Tom does this better, Andrew does this better, and kind of force the list to your favorite Spider-Man. I mean, Tom won and he's my favorite Spider-Man. Obviously, I have a bias. But yeah, this is kind of a more simple video while I work on some projects in the background. I have a very big project, years in the making, starting to finally go into development. I'm hoping to get that out December of this year, so if you're still here, that's your Easter egg, I guess. I don't think, I'd be surprised if anyone is actually still watching at this point.